Let's look at the New York City compression trick. But I'm going to show you the real way to do it, which is somewhat different from what you see posted around the web. I was actually the one who coined the phrase New York City compression trick way back in the first version of my Mixing Engineer's Handbook. That was back in 1999. The term is caught on everywhere. The name came about because it seemed that every engineer that I worked with that was from New York City back then used this trick. And believe me, it's really a good one. It will give the rhythm section of your song more power and heft, but it's more than simple parallel compression, and that's what I'm going to show you how to do today. Many people think of the New York City compression trick as just parallel compression, and it's true, it is just parallel compression, but there's more to it than that. And that's why I call this trick the real New York City compression trick. And I'm going to show you all of the little details that make it different than just simple parallel compression. So the first thing is, in order for us to do what we need to do, we're going to add a separate channel, and I've done this already. And what we're going to do is we're going to send our drums to this particular channel. I've named it NYC for New York City, and as you can see, this is on bus 3 and 4, and I'm going to add a compressor. This is just a normal Pro Tools compressor, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the attack time, because we want this to be very aggressive sounding. So I'll turn the attack time down, the release time up a little bit, and the ratio we want somewhere between 8 and 12 to 1, maybe even more. So I'm going to put it just at 10 to 1 right now, and we're going to leave everything else the way it is. From our drum group, we're sending to bus 3 and 4. Bus 3 and 4 is where the New York City compression is going to reside. So let's have a listen, and what I'm going to do is add this in while we listen to what the track is originally, and then we can hear it gradually change as I add the New York City compression in. So you can hear it makes a big difference. We can make this just a little more aggressive. So what I'm going to do is maybe crank this up, and we'll crank it to 12 to 1 or so, and a little longer release time, a little faster attack time, and we're going to add some additional compression and a little more gain. Well, let's do that. So now let's gradually add it in. Okay, you can hear when I just switch it out at the end, it got a little wimpy sounding, and that's what this tends to do. It tends to make everything sound better and bigger and fatter and add more glue. That's why we really like this. So first of all, let's listen again. You'll hear it without the New York City compression, and actually let's just solo up the drums, and then I'll add in the New York City compression. They sound pretty good. Let's listen with the compression. So now you can really hear it. Now it sounds pretty good, and you can hear it snap more. What we want to do is about 50-50 drums to New York City compression, or less. Sometimes we only want to barely hear it, but sometimes we want it more aggressive. Let's make sure that the drum level and the New York City compression level is about the same. Okay, you can really hear it there. There are 100 other awesome tricks that will take your mix to the next level. Check them out at 101mixtricks.com. Once again, this is on all of the drum tracks, every single drum channel. Sometimes we don't want that. Sometimes it sounds better if it's only in the kick and snare. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mute the send from the drum subgroup, and I'm just going to open up a send on the kick and the snare. That's all. And sometimes we'll add the toms as well. Now let's have a listen. Let's listen to the track now. It really sounds good. It sounds really thick and fat. And this is one of the attractive points of the New York City compression trick, is that once you start to use this, you want to use it on everything because it sounds so good. But this really isn't the New York City compression trick. This is just parallel compression right now. And there's a couple other points to it to really make it the real New York City compression trick. The first thing is to add an EQ on the New York City compression bus. And what we're going to do, just so you can see it here, we're going to add about 3 dB at 100 cycles. And we're going to add 3 dB at 10K as well. Now this will give us some added snap and some more body. Have a listen now. Sounds really good. Let's bypass the EQ and have a listen. And what it does is it just gives it a little more bottom and a little more top, a little more snap on the top. And a lot of times that's all we're looking for, just something like that. But that's not the only thing with the New York City compression trick. The real New York City compression isn't only drums, it's the rhythm section. It's drum and bass as well. And adding a little bit of bass really makes the track round and big and fat. So here's what we're going to do. Once again, bus 3 and 4 is our send to the New York City compression. And have a listen as I gradually bring this in. And this is the bass that we're adding. Now it sounds really big and fat. Now we're going to start out without it, and then I'm going to add it one more time. Once again, it sounds really big and really fat. And once we start to use this, it's really hard to ever go back to just plain tracks. It becomes very, very addictive. But that's just what we like about the real New York City compression trick. For the real New York City compression trick, the first thing to do is create a subgroup just for the drums. You can send to it from an aux send. Now insert a compressor on the drum subgroup. Set it for about 10 dB of compression, or to taste. It could be less if you want. Usually more is too much, but 10 dB will give it some nice smack. Insert an EQ after the compressor and set it for about 3 dB at 100 and 3 dB at 10K. And this is one of the secrets to the real New York City compression trick. And finally, send some of the bass to the subgroup. Not just the drums, the bass as well. And that's the real New York City compression trick. If you thought this trick was cool, there's 100 more just like it. Sign up for my 101 Mix Tricks coaching course to get started using the same mixing tricks that the A-list mixers do.